Hi everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match preview for the biggest game, arguably, of Newcastle United's entire season. That's right, this weekend, FA Cup third round draw, the first time in Weird Derby in God knows how long. We're away to Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, 12:45 kickoff. This game is much, much bigger than any of us was ever anticipating it was going to be prior to this game. We'll get stuck right into this in a minute, talk about how we think the lads are going to line up. Very difficult to pick an FA Cup side because it can chop and change, but this is a really important game for Eddie Howe and the players. More on that in a second. We'll get stuck right in. Just before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, click subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 6,100 subs. Loads of room for you guys. Smash that button, all free content. We're really close to 6,200, so you can help nudge us over that next milestone, which would be awesome. All free content, as I say, but if you do want to give a bit back to the channel, there is an option there as well. Just smash whichever button suits you best. Now, just before I get stuck into the lineup and talk about how I think the game is going to go and a little bit about Sunderland as well, I'm not going to take the piss out of Sunderland, right? I'm not going to do that. This isn't going to be one of those episodes. We don't generally do that here, especially in match previews. We always take the competition seriously. And yes, they've been in the lower leagues for a long time. And yes, prior to this game, if you looked at it a few months ago, a couple of months ago, we probably would have been saying, oh, this is Sunderland's biggest game of their entire season, right? This is now becoming our biggest game of the entire season, and Eddie Howe's in particular as well. I took a little break from content creating and social media for a couple of days after the Liverpool game, not because I wasn't expecting, the result to be different, but it was just draining, absolutely draining, watching that happen to the lads. And we did all right in spells against Liverpool, but Liverpool should have had 7 or 8 goals. And it's just, all the noise around the club at the minute, the transfer window, the lack of being able to spend, the need to spend. It is all just becoming really tiresome and really weary as a Newcastle fan at the moment. That's not me saying, I'm bailing out on the owners already or anybody like that, but it is becoming really tiring. The toxicity in amongst the Newcastle fan base is just getting quite rancid, really, as well. People can't have a difference of opinion, or there's fucking civil war between the fan base. And in many ways, this game is coming at the right time, but also the wrong time for the club and the fan base, because everything's on a powder keg now, and all the chips are riding on this game right now at the weekend for Eddie, for the players, for the fans as well. And I just fear if we lose this game, it could put some serious cracks in the foundation of what's been a really sturdy project over the last 18 months. And I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll get stuck into it nonetheless. So this is how I think Eddie's going to line the lads up. It's very difficult, as I say, to judge the FA Cup lineups, but we've gone pretty much full strength here because I just think this game is so important for Eddie at the moment. We need something to kickstart this season back up again. It's weird that we're saying that the Tiny Weird Derby is the biggest game of the season in a season where we've played, Paris Saint-Germain and AC Milan already, as well as, Manchester United, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. The Tiny Weird Derby is always a big game, but it's much, much bigger now because it represents more than just another derby, just a chance to win the FA Cup. It represents a reset moment, a chance for Eddie and the players to put all the badness behind them that's happened in December in the last kind of 6 or 7 weeks. The disappointment of being dumped out of the Champions League, being dumped out of the Carabao Cup at a really good stage as well, where we could have potentially got another final and maybe even won a trophy. Poor performances in the league against winnable teams as well, against Luton, against Bournemouth, against Nottingham Forest. These are points that we shouldn't have dropped, and not in the style that we dropped them in as well. We were so poor in those games, and we cannot go into this game with that kind of mentality, with that kind of attitude, because Sunderland, make no mistake about this, will be up for this game. I know it's not been great for Michael Beale since he's went there, but they will be pumped for this game. Every single person amongst the Stadium of Light, the city, they'll all be telling the players, local lads in the squad as well, they'll all be telling the players, much like we've got local lads in the squad, how big this game is for Sunderland. It's a chance for them to totally kick us in the nuts for this season and possibly cause our manager, the Messiah, more problems than he really wants to have. So for them, they've got motivation to win this game. But Newcastle have got huge motivation to win this game, and the lads need to turn up. So this is how we think Eddie's going to set up. The Bravkern goal's a no-brainer, really. I mean, weirdly enough, after the Liverpool, I wouldn't say debacle, just after the Liverpool, meh of the whole game, really, that Dubravka was probably the only player who really come out with any kind of credibility, possibly Shah as well. And it's nice to see Dubravka back to that level. Does he know there's a keeper coming in? I don't know. Maybe that's why he was sharp. But he put in a really good performance, some great shot stopping there, some confidence back in the player, which has been lacking massively over the last few weeks. So great to see that from Dubravka. Kieran Trippier, we've put him in. I think the whole fitness sweat thing, maybe he's been away, been allowed to have time to kind of calm himself, get himself sharp, come back into a game like this, a big game for Kieran Trippier. He's played in huge derbies already. He's played in Madrid derbies. He's played in North London derbies. He knows what these kind of games are like. Even Lancashire derby as well, with Burnley and Blackburn. He knows what derbies are like. He knows what to expect from derby games. And we need Trippier to stand up and be that leader that we need him to be. We've got Cher and Byrne going into centre half. And Byrne was shocking against Liverpool at left back. Very little pace. With all due respect to Sunderland, I'm not sure that their players will push him as hard as those Liverpool players were. There's some world-class talent in that Liverpool team. We've got Tino Livramento left back, who was all right on against Liverpool at Anfield. Got caught a couple of times, but again, it was more the quality of opposition than Tino himself. The midfield three, we've took Miley out. We've got Joe Linton, who was great at Anfield. Need a big game from Joe in this game as well. Bruno was I thought poor against Liverpool. Overplayed, lost the ball a lot. You won't have the kind of competition up against him in this kind of game that he would have done at Anfield, but we need a big game from Bruno. Sean Longstaff, another local lad in the team, he can really leave it all out on the pitch. We need a big performance from Sean. He's been really poor over the last few months. I'd happily see Louis Miley in there myself personally. I think he's a better player. I think he's offering more right now, but maybe Eddie won't put him in a tiny bit derby. He'll want Sean's experience. In the front three is Gordon, Isak, and Almiron. I can't see that changing really. And Gordon's already been licking his chops on the prospect of playing Sunderland. Now, on Sunderland themselves, I'm not an expert on the Championship. I don't watch a lot of Championship football, but just looking at Sunderland as a team, they've just come off the back of a 2-0 victory against Preston. And obviously we've come off another defeat. So if you look at the league form, so Sunderland have won 2 and drawn 1 of the last 5 games, and we've only won 1 of our last 5 games. So that just goes to show you, 6 games, I beg your pardon. That just goes to show you how kind of poor we are in terms of a form guide. In terms of the Sunderland lineup themselves, it's very difficult to judge it. But just looking at the last lineup there. Alex Pritchard got himself a goal. He's a busy little player. He's got a little bit of ability. Joe Bellingham looks a decent player. I mean, that's probably Sunderland's biggest claim to fame this season, I would say, is that Jude Bellingham has been in the crowd watching them. I think they got beat 3-0 one of the games he was there. But he's obviously watching his brother Job and supporting him. Jack Clark is that player who I think is probably someone we need to be a bit worried about. He's got a bit of ability. He's got pace. I saw him score a great goal earlier on in the season when he kind of tucked inside and just bent it in the far corner. And obviously the Mackems think very, very highly of the lad. He's obviously got a little bit about him. But in terms of the rest of the side, there's not a lot of players in there really that frighten me from the Sunderland lineup. I think Joe Bellingham and Jack Clark are probably the two that would potentially cause us some issues. But again, you're looking at our lineup again there, with some real quality in there in terms of the midfield. That's why we need Bruno to be disciplined. Can't have him losing his head here and going nuts and trying to half people and guillotine people and trying Hollywood passes all the time. Newcastle just need to get into this game. If Sunderland want to come out the traps flying in the first 10, 15 minutes, let them do it. They'll burn themselves out, right? Absorb the pressure, get the ball off them, start to play, turn the screw, let your quality shine through, and we should be able to win this game comfortably. But it's the FA Cup. It's not something that you can ever kind of predict or throw your chips on. We've seen full strength top 4 sides in the Premier League get dumped out by lower league opposition on numerous occasions in the FA Cup. So this game is certainly not a given by anybody's stretch at all. There's another player I think that Sunderland are sweating on in terms of fitness is Patrick Roberts, former Man City and Celtic player as well. Got some ability, got some talent. He's one of them players who just never quite made it at the high level. He's got that ability in him. We've had loads of players like that over the years. Burst on the scene, look good, drifted away, goes on loan, does a bit, and drifts away again. And these kind of players, unfortunately, the kind of Championship, League One, League Two are littered with these types of players. And you always think, God, how did he not make it? But the FA Cup is that chance for them to shine. It's that big occasion. all eyes are watching. I think we're live on ITV for anybody who isn't going to the game. There'll be 6,000 Geordies, I think, in the crowd as well. That was a bit of a contentious one, I think, in terms of how many tickets were for prawn sandwich brigades and everything else. But this is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're going to batter them 4-5-0 or something like that, because quite honestly, right now, the form isn't there. The confidence isn't there in the players. The way we use the ball is poor. Our final decision making is poor. Or without the ball, we're shocking at the minute. We really are. We need to go into this game, have a reset. Be confident, get the job done, be precise with our play, stick to our tactics, be clinical with our finishes. And you got someone like Alexander Isak up front, really should be scoring at least 1 or 2 goals against Sunderland with his knob hanging out. Really, with all due respect to them, he's light years away from their level. He really, really is. And Gordon as well. Gordon's goals have dried up recently. And, great assist from midweek, a great bit of skill, a turn speed, little duck of the shoulder to get Isak in with a great finish again. So those 2 players will take confidence from those performances and that finish at Anfield, and take that into the Wearside derby. And hopefully that's going to be enough for our quality to shine through. But I'm nervous, guys. I really am. I'm not going to sit here all confident and tell you we're going to smash the Mackems. I would have told you that 3 or 4 months ago. I would have come on here and probably, had a little bit of a chuckle to myself and said, bring them on. We'll dust them. We'll play the reserves. But at the minute, Newcastle just need that win. They need that confidence. If we can get that win and go through the next round of the FA Cup, more importantly, get the confidence, get the lads back firing, win a big game, get the crowd back buzzing as well, get Eddie Howe's pressure turned down a bit on him, go into the City game after that with a bit of confidence at home with St James's Roar behind you. If we lose this derby, going into St James's Park against Manchester City, that is going to be on a knife edge. It really is. And if City get the first goal, that could flatten that atmosphere quicker than a pin in a whoopee cushion. It really could. So this game is massive for Eddie Howe. It's massive for the players. It's massive for the owners as well. At the minute, the club, I wouldn't say it's not destitute. It's not in despair or anything like that. Listen, we're still way ahead of where we were under the previous regime. We just had every single season existing to survive really under that regime. Whereas we do have hope now. We have hope we can win a cup. We have hope we can get into the top 7 or top 4, which I think is probably gone this season given the poor form that we've been in. But it is disappointing, disenchanting to see stories like we're quabbling over £5 million loan fee for Calvin Phillips. Yes, there may be more to it than that, but it's the headlines that grab you. It's the Newcastle can't spend because of FFP and all this other stuff. And it is frustrating because the squad needs to be invested in and need to have quality in the right key areas. Those players, the difference makers, aren't doing the job for us right now. And it's been so apparent over the last 6 weeks. And it's now kind of coming home to roost. But this game in particular, all that needs to be put to one side. We need to go into this with confidence, with our chests out, with belief that we are a good footballing side, because we are a good footballing side. And we've shown even patches over the last 6 weeks it's been really, really poor for the club. We've shown that quality. And if we go into this game with that level of quality, with that confidence, with that calmness, I do believe we can get the job done. So my prediction for the scoreline in this game is going to be 2-1 to Newcastle. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be edgy. It'll be nervy at stages. But I just think that our quality should shine through at the end. I don't even want to think about the alternative about losing this game. But you know what it is? As negative as this might sound, I would take a draw and have a replay back at St James's Park. I really would. Even if we don't lose this game, I think it'll be good for the confidence and then give us that break, get away to that warm weather camp and just reset a little bit. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the game. Are you nervous? Do you think we're going to win comfortably? Do you think it's going to be edgy? Are you worried we might get beat? What do you think about that lineup? And again, what do you think it means for Eddie if we do lose this game? So we always love to hear from you. Smash that button, as I mentioned at the start. If you haven't already, smash subscribe. I'd love you to come and join us. Loads of content for you, certainly with the transfer window being open. There's loads of players linked. Not sure how many are going to fucking sign, mind you, but there's loads of players being linked. And Mark, I've run them through the super duper computer and we'll see how they look. But that's me done for the match preview. I will be back with a post-match review, and I'm hoping I'll have a smile on my face as Newcastle United get the job done, dust the Mackems off, and get to the next round of the FA Cup. Catch you later, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.